everyone. Welcome to Book Novel Podcast. Your host, the Catalina Soto. Our guest star today is Danny Lopez. We are going to go over some questions about Mexican Whiteboy, the book written by Matt de la Pena. Danny, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself for our listeners? Hey everyone, my name is Danny Lopez. I'm a 16-year-old boy. I live in San Diego with my mother, Wendy, and then my sister Julia. I did go to a prep school where I was the only mixed kid there, and that was because my mom's white and then my dad is Hispanic. So I was the only non-white person at that school. It was a little difficult, but nothing too drastic. You, Danny. Now I'm going to ask you a series of questions so the listeners can get to know you and get to know the story that you're trying to tell. Well, that's perfect. I'm here to speak my truth. So, first question, did your mixed ethnicity affect you while growing up? Well, honestly, it did, and that was just because I felt like I didn't belong with the prep school that I was going to, since I was too brown to be considered white. But then also when I would spend time with my family, I was a little bit lighter than the rest of my cousins, so I just felt too white to be considered Mexican. So it was just a constant battle kind of inside myself where I didn't know who I really was or who I fell to. It was just a little confusing. So I totally understand that I too am mixed ethnicities, so it does get a little confusing on which one you do fall to. So, second question, how did you feel when your dad left your family? Kind of personal, but I just felt that he didn't appreciate my mom, and also we weren't Mexican enough for him, because my dad did leave to go run off to Mexico. At least that's what my mom told me. So at the time I just felt like I wasn't good enough, and it really did a lot to my self-image. Definitely. Kids with split parents always have identity crisis, so I can definitely see where you're coming from. Many of our listeners wanted to ask you this question, but what started your baseball career? So, kind of crazy. I've always been good at baseball. Just the thing was, I didn't know that my arm was super strong. I was always like a pitcher, but when I went with my cousins to go to the carnival, and then we found the field with the speedometer, when I threw the ball, I didn't expect it to be 90 miles per hour. I didn't expect my arm to be that strong, and it was just kind of like an awakening for what I could have been or what I can be. And I think that's when all the other boys thought I was kind of cool, so it helped me a lot with building friendships and then building my baseball career. That's very interesting. The listeners found out that you threw a 90 miles per hour ball, and they were just very intrigued in your career and your path goals based on your nice arm. Deeper into your mind, but if you wanted to share your story but were told that you can't, how would you feel? That's very interesting, because I feel like as a storyteller, an author, I would want to share my experiences with the world. Obviously, this is a learning experience. I have a mixed family. I'm a biracial kid who has struggles, which there are thousands, millions of kids out there in the world that struggle with that same social problems, where this is just a book to give them recognition, to give them satisfaction that they're not alone. So yeah, if my story was not allowed to be told, I would feel very sad and upset, actually, because what differs my story than anybody else's story? Especially because these are real life events and real life situations that kids can connect to. Actually, I 100% agree with your ideas, because no story differs than one another. They're kind of all the same, just in different aspects, but they're there for a purpose, to inform and to make people feel validated. So I see where you're coming from. Hello to the other question, but how do you feel about censored books in the United States? Like I said before, books are here to inform, and they're here for people, like, well, like you said, to be validated. So books that are censored just makes me question, why are they censored, and what does the United States or whichever company is trying to shut down these books and the authors who are making these books, um, like, what is their motive? What is the reason why? You just question, like, authority in that aspect, because it's not like everyone is going to read a book. You know what I'm saying? So if someone wants to read it, let's say like a few thousand read a book, what is that going to impact to the United States or to a school, to like universities? So I just question what their motives are with that. Moving into another question, but you said that your family was kind of split. So, do you believe that topics such as divorce or split families should be censored? Of course not. I don't think that books should be censored at all, especially on topics like divorce or mixed split families. It's just shutting down a whole demographic that experience these situations, and people connect to books, they connect to literature, and it's just ridiculous to censor a book. Also, you have to think of like the publishers involved, editors involved. Those are all people getting paid. Those are their jobs. So it's like you're shutting down a book process that has a lot of functions in it, and it's benefiting no one by censoring these books. 100%, 100%. To our listeners, if you guys are editors, publishers, authors, companies that work with books in general, that ever had an incident where you had to censor a book, I just, put it in the comments below as to why, or how did you feel? Because, I mean, I am an outsider. Danny's an outsider too. So it's just like we don't experience that on that type of level, but from an outsider perspective, we're frustrated, so we want to know if you guys get frustrated. Jumping into your story, so at the beginning of the book, you didn't talk, so I'm just wondering, why didn't you talk while you were with your cousins and her friends? It's simple. I just didn't talk because I felt like they all spoke Spanish, and my American accent isn't Hispanic at all, and I didn't want to get made fun of. I mean, that's just a struggle that us mixed children go through. It's like we don't want to be judged by the way that we talk and our appearances and stuff like that. I agree. I mean, I am Hispanic as well, and I don't speak Spanish, so I get judged all the time. We all understand. So, I did see that you and your cousins were drinking before you went to the carnival. So my question is, do you support underage drinking? Obviously not. I mean, I'm 16 years old. I don't support it, but, stuff goes down sometimes, and it's hard to disassociate, and sometimes you get peer pressured, and I definitely got peer pressured when we were going to the carnival. And also, I felt like an outsider, so I didn't want to, like, be a Debbie Downer, but, I mean, I don't think other people should drink, because, I'm only 16 years old. Jump to another part of the question, but why did you write letters to your dad? I wrote letters to my dad because I was going through things, and at the end of the day, I wanted him to be proud of me. Like when I did baseball, or I kissed the girl, or I made new friends, and stuff like that. I just wanted to make him proud. Yeah, as do we all. I know what you're saying. The fan favorite, but did you ever think when you first met Uno, you boys would be best friends? Of course not. Why would I ever think that me and Uno would be best friends? That man punched me in the eye and beat me up because I hit his brother with a baseball after he was tormenting me. Like, no, I didn't think we were going to be friends at all, but after he saw me throw the pitch and after we got closer together, we trauma bonded together for sure. Yes. We all love a good trauma bond. Ooh, so going into your little crush, but did the language barrier between you and Liberty ever stop you from talking to her? Of course it did. I mean, I didn't speak Spanish and that's all she spoke, so it was like very difficult to communicate. But we started hanging out, and there are certain times where I felt like very ignorant because I didn't understand her at all and that she didn't understand me. But we ended up kissing, so obviously something got right in translation. That's a good story to tell to your kids. So, jumping into more deeper questions, but did you ever feel betrayed? I feel betrayal is such a big word because I felt betrayed when my dad moved to Mexico, and then I even felt betrayed when my mom was happy with her new boyfriend in San Diego. Or no, and then she moved to San Francisco. It was just a lot of betrayal because I'm a growing 16-year-old boy and I think everything is about me. So there was that, and then I just felt betrayed when no one told me that like my dad was in jail the whole time that I thought he went to Mexico. So it was very confusing. Well, second question. How did you feel when your Uncle Ray hit and threatened people? During this time of story, when Uncle Ray, at the first like incident that, you guys and me meeting him, he started threatening my cousin's friends because they did beat me up. They gave me, black eye and stuff like that. So I was just hurt and he wanted to protect me, but I didn't know the levels that he went to. So, like, when he was threatening people and I was in the car, it was just a level and a feeling that I never want to feel. And I didn't want to associate myself with that side of the family. And I just knew, like, he's my my dad's brother, so I just kind of felt like disassociated with my father. And alright, I believe this is the last one, but the last day of summer, you found out that you can visit your dad. How did that make you feel? Well, kind of going back to like the letters, is I started writing the letters because I kind of suspected that something was going on with my father, so I thought I could write it for my dad. But when Uno told me that we can go visit him and my mom's coming to go take me to go visit him in jail, I just thought that was a good moment in my time and go tell him how proud I am because I accomplished so much this summer and I, broken out of my shell. I found my true identity. Like, I'm my own person. I don't have to associate with my dad. I don't associate with my mom. I'm just me. I'm Danny. So it's cool to go see my dad, go say hi, make a connection, but I already found myself. So it's like I don't need to find myself in my dad anymore, but I like the gesture. It was very sweet. Honestly, I would have to agree that it's very sentimental when we found out that you can go visit your dad. It's very tear gesture. So now I just want to wrap everything up and say special thanks to our guest, Danny Lopez. He was great, and I hope that you guys all learned so much from him. So please subscribe, like, and follow to this podcast, and we'll see you another week. Bye-bye.